If you grew up in the early 80s or 90s, you were raised during the Disney Renaissance, a golden age of animation that gave us ballroom dancing beasts, wisecracking genies, and underwater mermaids with bangs that defied both logic and gravity. But while The Lion King was winning Oscars and emotionally scarring us with wildebeest stampedes, a different breed of animation was lurking just beneath the surface. The cult classics, the beautifully weird, the wait, did that movie actually happen, or was that just a fever dream? Hello, and welcome to Ruining My Childhood, where I revisit those forgotten films to find out if they still hold up, or if I've been emotionally gaslit by nostalgia. Either way, welcome to the trauma. Today, we're diving into a millennial favorite, Ferngully, The Last Rainforest, a 90s eco-friendly film full of magic, sometimes admittedly stiff animation, and a bat so manic you can't look away.
Human tails. Humans don't have tails. They have big, big bottoms that they wear with bad shorts. They walk around going, "Hi, Helen!"
It's got fairies, an unusually seductive pollution demon.
Sir, grab me that specimen.
But sir, we don't even know what it is.
Grab me that specimen.
And a questionable interspecies romance. So buckle up as we explore if this trip back to the rainforest still holds magic, or if it's time we start campaigning for deforestation. Before we even meet our protagonist, Crysta, we're introduced to her mentor, Magi, wise, mystical, and serving full-on 90s storybook narrator energy. Magi gives us the fairy version of a history lesson. Once upon a time, humans and fairies coexisted peacefully, until human greed unleashed Hexus. The fairies did manage to imprison him, but the scars of that era still linger. Crysta, of course, is not paying any attention. She's your classic, curious, rebellious teen who tunes out the lecture and immediately yeets herself into a side quest, which, by the way, almost gets her carried off by a hawk. But yeah, no, sure, Magi, nature is healing.
No ma'am. No ma'am. No ma'am. No ma'am.
We're also introduced into our first musical number of the film, Life is a Magic Thing. And listen, I watched this whole movie again for this video and genuinely forgot this song existed. That's how memorable it is. A little closer to the forest floor, we officially meet Pip. He's Crysta's overconfident childhood friend who clearly wandered in from a different movie because, spoiler alert, he's about to lose to the new guy. After her chat with Pip, Crysta goes back to Magi for some much needed exposition, but we're gonna bypass all that because the MVP of the movie has officially crash landed, Baddie Coda, voiced by none other than Robin Williams.
Hello, I'm a nocturnal placental flying mammal, a member of the family of Pterodiddae, or Pterodidnae. If you can't tell, I'm a bat! Yes, I am! And they used to call me Baddie Coda.
Let's be real, Baddie is Ferngully. I could still recite the entire Baddie rap without missing a beat, and I hadn't heard it in years. And if you didn't know, there's actually an extended version of the rap that's even weirder, darker, and more unhinged than what made it into the final cut. I highly recommend watching it when you've got some spare time. And a strong sense of curiosity. This was Robin Williams' very first animated role, and you can tell in the best way. Every scene with Baddie, gold. Chaotic, hilarious, sometimes a little disturbing now that I'm watching it through adult eyes, but always entertaining. The parts without him, they can drag. finally, we meet Zach. He's just a regular dude, working his summer job, unknowingly destroying the rainforest one spray can at a time. Basically, he's the human embodiment of the, wait, we're the bad guys? trope. But here's what bugs me about Zach's first interaction with Crysta. Why is he so obsessed with catching her? She must look like a firefly from his perspective. And I don't know about you, but I have never dropped my entire job to chase a firefly. Not once. Like, you have a rainforest to destroy. Get back to work. Still, the plot demands that he stumble into the fairy world, and this gets the job done. Crysta, trying to give him fairy sight like she did with Batty, flubs her words and instead gives him fairy size. Zach gets Honey I Shrunked and then immediately almost dies via tree shredder before Crysta and Batty swoop in to save him. So, I guess, thanks, Crysta and Batty? Before we move on, there's a scene right after this that absolutely wrecked me. Zach is unconscious, helpless, freshly tiny, and Crysta decides this is the perfect time to casually inspect the metal weapon in his pocket. So she pulls out his pocket knife and just starts messing with it. Then Zach wakes up and she's hovering over him, grinning with a knife. Y'all, the look on her face is pure slasher flick material. Like, hi, welcome to the forest, time to die. I laughed so hard I had to pause the movie. This is not how you welcome your guests, ma'am. Now, let's talk about our villain, Hexus, voiced by Tim Curry, who's operating at full chaos, and honestly is deep in Hear Me Out territory during his musical number of Toxic Love. As a kid, the song, creepy. It was definitely creepy. As an adult,
Sir, grab me that creature.
But sir, it's an endangered species.
Grab me that creature.
listen, I can't be the only one who thinks that Toxic Love is oddly seductive when viewed through adult eyes. I'm not too ashamed to admit that the animators may have accidentally made deforestation hot. I'm just saying. I'm gonna start this off with saying I didn't know where else to put this, so I'm dropping it here. The songs If I'm Gonna Eat Somebody and Raining Like Magic are just as forgettable as Life is a Magic Thing. Yes, the animation, especially during Raining Like Magic, is beautiful. Gorgeous. But the songs themselves, absolute background noise. Unless you count Tone Loc's extremely recognizable voice doing all the heavy lifting during If I'm Gonna Eat Somebody. I did vaguely remember that song once the beat kicked in, but let's be honest, it's no baddie rap. And Raining Like Magic, total snooze fest. Again, gorgeous to look at. Yes. Memorable? Not even a little. I won't keep harping on how bad I think those two particular songs are. So let's take a quick detour into some Disney drama. Because, of course, there's drama. Allegedly. If you don't know, and some people might, but if you don't, Robin Williams was cast as Batty, and then in the same year, shortly after, was cast to play Genie in Aladdin. And Disney, specifically Jeff Katzenberg, did not like that. Allegedly. According to multiple sources, Katzenberg tried to pressure Robin Williams into dropping out of Ferngully entirely. But wait, because it gets pettier. Disney reportedly took over Ferngully's production spaces twice. Spaces Courier Films had already rented out. And when Courier bought a studio to escape that rental drama, Disney tried to buy that building too. Allegedly. When Katzenberg was asked about these rumors back in around 2017, he gave no comment. But when this many people back up the same story, it starts sounding a little less like a fairy tale, pun intended, and a little more like a hostile takeover. Allegedly. Back to the film, we get some more jealous Pip, Batty getting ignored yet again by a forest full of ungrateful woodland creatures, and some very stiff animated dancing to A Land of a Thousand Dances, only to get to the final musical number that's actually worth talking about. A dream worth keeping. And honestly, perfection. The water glows, Crysta and Zach run on it like they're in an anime opening, and Sheena Easton's vocals are carrying the entire fairy realm on her back. Also, we get a full-blown interspecies kiss. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about it, or if it's even legal in the US or Australia, but you know, we're here now. The film reaches its final climax. The forest is being obliterated, thanks Zach, and the fairies feel betrayed, rightfully so. They peace out. Magi sacrifices herself in a glowing, tragic fadeaway moment to protect what's left. And now everything's on fire. Zach teams up with Batty and Pip. Yes, that Pip. And they manage to stop the leveler. But Hexus isn't done. Nope. He's got one more cursed Pokemon evolution, who I will now refer to as Skelehexus. And I'm gonna be honest, that was the moment I dragged him out of the Why He Kinda folder and dropped him straight into the recycle bin. Pollution is bad, you guys. And all it took was one failed Bone Daddy makeover to make me snap out of it. Crysta taps into the power of the seed, and yes, that's what actually happens. Yes, that's an actual sentence. And Skelehexus is re-imprisoned. Crysta and Zach share a heartfelt goodbye. And yeah, it's actually sweet. Even if I'm still emotionally recovering from that interspecies kiss. As Zach leaves the fairy world, he's returned to his normal size and reunited with his leveler buddies, who are shockingly calm about him vanishing into the rainforest for at least 24 hours. But now, with his newly acquired eco-consciousness and the soft glow of fairy enlightenment, Zach becomes somewhat of a forest guardian. Or he'll turn into that guy who makes really intense eye contact with the trees in the park that you tell your kids to stay away from. I guess that counts as a redemption arc. So, that was Ferngully. And I think it's safe to say the film will always have a special place in my heart, probably until the day I die. As a kid, it completely held my attention. As an adult, the animation gets stiff in places. Some of the songs are forgettable at best. And while the environmental message is still important, sometimes it leans more towards after-school special than nuanced allegory. There's sometimes a lot of telling and not much showing. That said, the message is still relevant. Honestly, could be even more relevant now than it was 30 years ago. There are moments that still tug at my heartstrings, moments that make me laugh, and Batty is still perfection. So, did I ruin my childhood by rewatching Ferngully as an adult? No. But some of the magic has changed. If you've never seen it, I do think it's worth watching at least once. Ferngully lands a solid B- on my childhood movie tier list. Still has Batty, and it still has some magic. If you like this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Did Ferngully hold up for you? Let me know, and thanks for watching.